Inner peace isn't some mystical feeling you find one day. It's the quiet that appears when you finally stop fighting battles that don't exist anymore. For most men, the noise in their mind isn't coming from what's happening now. It's coming from everything they've carried for years. Old expectations, old fears, old pressure to be someone they're not. Old stories about failure, success, love, and identity. And the world doesn't help. You're surrounded by noise, opinions, comparisons, demands, distractions. It's no wonder your mind feels like it's constantly vibrating. But the real problem isn't the world. It's the subconscious part of you that still thinks you're in danger, still tries to control everything, still tries to protect yourself from threats that aren't even real. Inner peace isn't created by changing your environment. It's created by changing your relationship with your own thoughts. This video will break down the psychology behind a quiet mind and the shift that turns chaos into clarity. Your mind isn't loud because life is complicated. Your mind is loud because it's still running on old survival programming you never updated. Most of the noise in your head isn't coming from the present moment. It's coming from the younger version of you who learned to scan for danger, avoid mistakes, and expect disappointment. And even though you've grown, your nervous system still acts like you're that same kid trying to stay safe. That's why you replay worst-case scenarios. That's why you overthink simple situations. That's why silence makes you uncomfortable. Because silence forces you to listen to parts of yourself you've been avoiding. Your mind keeps talking because it's trying to solve problems that don't exist anymore. It replays conversations because it's trying to protect your ego. It anticipates rejection because it remembers when love wasn't stable. It imagines failure because it's terrified of repeating the past. It prepares for betrayal even when no one's betrayed you. Your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's doing its job a little too well. It's keeping you alert, guarded, and ready for impact, even when there's nothing to guard against. This is why peace feels foreign. This is why calm feels suspicious. This is why you can be alone in your room and still feel tense, because your mind hasn't learned how to stop fighting battles you already survived. Inner conflict isn't a flaw. It's your nervous system trying to protect you from ghosts. And the moment you understand that, you stop judging yourself for the noise and start learning how to quiet it. Most of your stress doesn't come from what's happening. It comes from your attempt to control what's happening. Your mind hates uncertainty. It hates loose ends. It hates not knowing where you stand. So it tries to grip everything around you. People, outcomes, conversations, timing, emotions, as if holding tighter will somehow make life predictable. But here's the truth you've probably learned the hard way. The more you try to control, the more out of control you feel. You try to manage how people see you. You try to fix situations that aren't yours to fix. You try to predict every possible problem so you're never caught off guard. You try to control how someone feels about you, how a relationship unfolds, how your future is supposed to look. And every one of those attempts pulls your peace further away. Because real peace doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from letting go of what was never yours to carry. You can't control how people behave. You can't control how they interpret you. You can't control the pace of life or the reactions of others. And trying to forces your nervous system into a state of constant tension. Control is fear in disguise. The fear of being rejected. The fear of being blindsided. The fear of failing. The fear of repeating old wounds. You try to control everything around you because deep down you feel like you can't handle losing anything. But inner peace comes from the opposite, knowing that you can handle whatever happens. When you stop forcing outcomes, you stop fighting reality. When you stop micromanaging people, you stop exhausting yourself. When you stop trying to secure every situation, you finally breathe. And that's when your mind begins to quiet, because it no longer thinks it has to run the whole world. Your mind isn't loud because of stress alone. It's loud because your ego refuses to sit still. Your ego is the part of you that always needs to be right, always needs to be seen, always needs to prove something. Even when no one is watching, it keeps you performing. It keeps you comparing. It keeps you running mental marathons over things that don't matter. You think you're worried about your future, but most of the time, you're worried about how you'll look if things don't work out. You think you're replaying arguments because they were meaningful. But really, you're replaying them because your pride didn't get the last word. You think you're striving to be better. But often, you're trying not to feel like you're behind everyone else. Your ego convinces you that peace is unsafe, because peace requires vulnerability. It requires letting go of image. It requires being okay with not winning every moment. And that terrifies the part of you that built your identity on surviving, competing, and proving yourself. That's why you get restless when things are good. That's why silence feels uncomfortable. That's why you stay busy even when you don't need to be. That's why you feel the urge to respond, defend, correct, or explain. Your ego is allergic to stillness, because stillness exposes the truth you've been avoiding. You're not who you pretend to be. You're still becoming him. When you stop feeding your ego's need to impress and perform, the pressure you've been carrying begins to dissolve. And in that space, peace finally has room to enter. Most of the chaos in your life doesn't come from what happens. It comes from how automatically you react to what happens. Your mind hears a tone, your ego fires up, your emotions spike, and you respond before you've even had a second to think. That automatic reaction is what steals your peace. You're not choosing your behavior. You're just acting out old programming. You get triggered and argue. You get anxious and chase. You get insecure and pull away. You get frustrated and snap. You get overwhelmed and shut down. And it all happens in milliseconds. True inner peace begins the moment you realize you don't have to attend every emotional impulse your mind sends you. Observing is different from reacting. Observing is the moment you feel anger rise, and instead of exploding, you breathe and let it move through you. Observing is the moment a thought tells you you're failing, and instead of spiraling, you recognize it as an old fear speaking. Observing is hearing someone's comment and not taking it as an attack. It's the ability to stand in the middle of your emotions without being controlled by them. This is where masculinity becomes powerful, when you can stay calm in situations that once made you lose yourself. When you stop reacting, you stop giving people access to your peace. Every moment becomes a choice, not a trigger. And that shift alone creates more inner freedom than anything else you could chase. Peace isn't something you stumble into. It's something you build. And the men who carry real inner peace all share the same truth. Their calm doesn't come from life being easy. It comes from who they became when life wasn't. The masculine path to peace is forged through discipline, not comfort. It's the discipline of controlling your reactions instead of letting your emotions run you. It's the discipline of choosing purpose over distraction. It's the discipline of spending time alone until your own presence feels solid. It's the discipline of saying no to chaos, even when chaos is familiar. True inner peace is built in solitude, not loneliness, solitude. The space where you hear your own thoughts clearly enough to separate what's real from what's conditioning. It's built through routine, the kind that grounds you when life tests you. Training your body, strengthening your mind, organizing your environment, protecting your standards. It's built through boundaries, not walls, but standards that prevent anyone from dragging you back into the version of yourself you worked to outgrow. And most importantly, inner peace is built through self-respect. When you stop betraying yourself, when you stop abandoning your values for attention, when you stop letting temporary emotions make permanent decisions, your mind recognizes that you are finally someone it can trust. That trust quiets the noise. That trust stabilizes your emotions. That trust becomes the foundation for a calm that no one can shake. Because once you build a strong inner world, the outer world loses its power over you. That's the psychology of true inner peace. Not escape, not avoidance, but mastering yourself so deeply that nothing outside you can pull you out of alignment. If this spoke to you, it's because a part of you is tired of living in survival mode and ready to build something stronger inside yourself. Inner peace isn't a destination, it's a skill. And the men who master it don't just live calmer lives. They make better decisions, attract healthier relationships, and move through the world with a presence most people never develop. If you want to keep sharpening that mindset, hit subscribe, drop a comment telling me which part hit hardest, and like the video so more men can find clarity instead of chaos. Stay steady, stay intentional, and build the kind of inner world no one can shake.